This video introduces the Meta-Regression module, which is new in version 3 of Comprehensive Meta-Analysis, or CMA. I'm going to use the BCG example to show how the module works. The BCG example is an analysis of 13 studies that looked at the impact of a vaccine to prevent the development of TB. All 13 studies used pretty much the same protocol. People at risk for TB were assigned either to receive the vaccine or to receive a placebo, and the researchers kept track of how many people in each group developed TB. So for example, in the first study, there were approximately 1,500 people assigned to each group. In the vaccine group, 180 developed TB, as compared to 372 in the control group. So the risk ratio is 0.45, which tells us that the risk of developing TB if you received the vaccine was only about 45% as high as the risk of developing TB if you did not receive the vaccine. You might say that the vaccine was about 55% effective in reducing the risk of TB. To run the analysis, we can simply click Run Analysis. I'm going to select Random Effect Weights, and we see here on the yellow line the summary effect, which is a risk ratio of 0.49. This tells us that in the universe of studies from which these studies were selected, the mean risk ratio is 0.49. On average, the vaccine reduces the risk of TB by about 50%. However, what we want to focus on over here is not so much the mean, but rather the variation in the treatment effects. And to get a better sense of that, we can come over here to the column marked risk ratio, sort by that column, and we see that there are some studies where the risk ratio is around 0.20, which means that the vaccine was about 80% effective, and other studies where the risk ratio is around 1, which means that the vaccine was not effective at all. And what we'd like to do is to understand why the vaccine was so more effective in some studies as compared to others. The researchers had a few ideas. One of them had to do with the location in which the study was conducted. In particular, if we come back here to the data entry screen, we see there's a column marked latitude. Some of the studies were conducted in tropical climates relatively close to the equator. For example, the study over here where the latitude is 13. And other studies were conducted in places where the climate was much colder. For example, this study here, or this one over here where the latitude is 55, and I believe the study was located in Alaska. The thinking was that when studies were located near the equator, the vaccine may have been stored poorly in a very hot and humid climate, and therefore it might have lost potency before it was actually used. So the researchers wanted to take a look and see if they could use latitude to explain the variation in the treatment effect. Another potential moderator was the method of allocation used to assign people to one group or the other. Some studies used randomized allocation, but there were some that used what they called alternate allocation, which is a sort of an A-B situation. Every other patient is assigned to the vaccine group and every other patient is assigned to the control group. And there were some that used something that they called systematic allocation, and it's not always clear exactly what that means. In any event, if we come back here to the analysis screen, and we want to see the relationship between latitude and effect size, we can go to View, Columns, Moderators. We can take the moderator called latitude, drop it in over here, and then we can sort by latitude. And so now what we have at the top are the studies that were done in tropical climates. What we have at the bottom are the studies that were done in colder climates. And there does indeed appear to be a trend that as we look at the studies that were done in tropical climates, the risk ratio is near 1. It's not very effective at all. Whereas if we move to the colder climates, the risk ratio is around 0.20. It's much more effective. What we want to do now is to use meta-regression to look at this more systematically. I'm going to click meta-regression. Initially, the program presents me with a list of all potential covariates. I'm going to click on latitude. The program tells me that it's an integer variable, that I have a valid score for each of my 13 studies. I click Add to Main Screen. I put a tick mark over here. I click Run Regression. And the program gives me the regression using latitude as a predictor. Here's my coefficient, standard error, confidence interval, and a p-value. If I want to get a better understanding of what this looks like, I can click on scatter plot. And I see over here, the prediction equation is 0.25 minus 0.029 times latitude. We're talking here about the log risk ratio. And what we see is that if we're working with a study relatively close to the equator, a latitude of 13, the predicted effect would be around a log risk ratio of 0, corresponding to a risk ratio of 1.0, which we've annotated here to say that this is not effective. By contrast, if we move to a study at a latitude of 55, the predicted effect size is now a log risk ratio of minus 1.5, corresponding to a risk ratio of around 0.20, and we've annotated this to say that this is effective. Over here we have some of the statistics that we used. We're talking about the confidence interval is the 95% confidence interval, and it's based on the Z distribution. The program also shows us a schematic for R square. This tells us that R square is 0.79, which means that the covariate is able to explain around 79% of the variance in true effect sizes. Put another way, when we didn't have any covariates in the model, the variance of true effects was 0.31. With this covariate in the model, the variance of true effects is only 0.06. So if we went from 0.30 to 0.06, we were able to explain 0.24 units of variance. We were able to explain 0.24 out of 0.30, which gives us 0.79. So the R-square analog over here is 79%. If we come back to the main screen, another possible covariate is allocation. The program tells me that this is a categorical variable, which means that we're going to need to create dummy codes to put this into the prediction model. Since there are three groups, remember there was randomized allocation, systematic allocation, and alternate allocation, we're going to need two dummy codes. And the program allows you, will create the dummy codes for you automatically. You get to choose which one of these you want to use as the reference group. We're going to use the randomized group as the reference group. I say add to main screen, and the program now creates a dummy variable which is alternate allocation and one which is systematic allocation. I'm going to put a tick mark next to that, and initially I'm going to leave out latitude as my predictor. I'm going to run the regression equation just using allocation, and because the program understands that these two together form a set, these are two dummy coded variables which together represent allocation, it's put a bracket around them, and it gives me the Q value and P value for these two units as a set. And it tells me that they do not explain any substantial amount of the variance. The program understands that we're dealing with a categorical variable over here, and therefore, rather than giving me the kind of a scatter plot that it gave me last time, it actually gives me three sort of bars. This is the list of studies that used randomized allocation and the mean. These are the ones that used alternate allocation and their mean. And these are the ones that used systematic allocation and their mean. And again, the program lets me put in the regression equation. So for example, for the reference group, which was randomized, the mean is simply going to be minus 0.99 on the log scale, which we see over here. By contrast, for the alternate group, it's going to be the reference group plus 0.47, which simply tells us that this mean is going to be 0.47 higher than this one, which we see here. And finally, for the systematic group, the mean is going to be 0.58 higher than this one, which we see over here. Finally, we can come back here. We have the option of including both latitude and allocation method in the equation. In this case, what we get is we get a line that gives us the statistics for latitude holding allocation constant, and we get the set of allocation holding latitude constant. Now if I go to the scatter plot and I look at latitude, this is now the regression line based on latitude but controlling for allocation method. So if there's any confound, that is being removed from this, and we see the regression line, we see the confidence interval. Alternatively, we can select to look at allocation, and now we're looking at allocation holding latitude constant. Again, we can come back over here. What we're looking at over here are the statistics for latitude, partialing allocation. This is allocation, partialing latitude. And over here we get statistics for the entire set. This asks whether these 2 or 3 variables together explain any of the variance in treatment effects. This asks whether they explain all of the variance in treatment effects, or if some of the variance still remains unexplained. And then down here we have statistics for a model that includes only the intercept, because by the reason we do that is we're able to get the original amount of variation between studies. So we can look at the amount that was unexplained initially, we can look at the amount that remains unexplained with these covariates in the model, and then we get the R-square analog, which tells us what proportion of the true variance is actually explained by the covariates. There are many other features over here as well. For example, once I create the scatter plot, I have the option of sending this to Word or to PowerPoint. If I wanted to look at the diagnostics, I can very quickly do that. And then if I wanted to, I could send this off to Excel, open it in Excel, and then I could do additional analyses over here or use this to create additional graphs. There are other functions over here. For example, rather than working with the z-distribution, I can use the Naupartung distribution. There are several options for estimating to a square. I could use method of moments or maximum likelihood or restricted maximum likelihood. I have the option of using a fixed effect model rather than a random effects model, and various others. This was intended as a fairly brief overview of what you can do with the regression module. You're invited to have a look at our website, which is www.metaanalysis.com. If you go to support and video tutorials, you'll find additional videos on this and other modules in the program. There's also the option over here to download the manual for meta-regression. This runs about 400 pages. Only a small part of that explains how to use the program, because that's fairly simple, but there's a lot of information in here on how to actually interpret a meta-regression. And I hope you'll find that useful. Finally, for those of you that might be interested in taking a short course in meta-analysis, we offer 3-day courses. If you go to our website, this is a different website, metaanalysisworkshops.com, we have a listing of some of the courses that are currently scheduled, and I hope you'll have a look at that. If you have any questions, my email is michaelb@metaanalysis.com, and I'd be very happy to hear from you. Thank you.